Hello! So the most popular video on my channel has been 10 found footage horror movies that you might have missed. Now I love found footage horror movies and the response to this one has been amazing. So loads of people have given me lots of different suggestions for even more movies to watch, and some of them have made this new list. So I decided to make another one and recommend some more films for you. So let's get into it. So at number 10, we have The Houses That October Built, or The Houses of Halloween, depending on where you're watching it. I don't know why it's got two titles, but it does. And this one follows 5 friends who are looking for the scariest Halloween mazes that they can find and looking for the ones that are the most extreme. And that takes them to one particular one in the middle of nowhere where the sort of haunt becomes the hunted, and they all start to basically find out that this is getting a little bit too real. I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was great. It has a pretty dark ending, I have to say, that I wasn't expecting and left me feeling a bit stunned. And I've recently found out that this movie has a sequel. So I get to find out what happens because I haven't seen the sequel yet. So I will report back if it's a good one. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. So if you can find it, definitely check it out. So at number 9, we have Conspiracy. So this one is all about 2 filmmakers who are trying to make a documentary about conspiracy theories and trying to find people who are sort of really deep into that tinfoil hat territory. And we know that's quite prevalent at the minute. So this one was a fun watch. But this one is kind of like almost a documentary style. And they start to uncover a secret society called Tarsus. And they find out that a lot of people know about it, but not a lot of people can get in or infiltrate it. So they sort of set out to do just that, really. And I really enjoyed this. I thought it was a really well-made film. The thing is, the first half did drag a little bit. It could have been cut down by maybe sort of 15-20 minutes, but I do think it's a really good watch. It's definitely one for found footage fans if you haven't seen it as well, and also one for watching if you know a few people that are into their conspiracy theories, because it's quite funny. But yeah, go check out Conspiracy. I really enjoyed it. So in at number 8, we have Death of a Vlogger. Now this one is a British found footage movie, and it's kind of like a mockumentary style as well. It's about a guy who is basically trying to go viral and has been doing all the different sort of internet challenges under the sun and faking lots of videos to try and become internet famous. And he starts to discover that maybe there's some kind of hauntings going on in his flat, and you have to discover whether it's something that he's faking or whether it's really happening. What I really enjoyed about this one is how it had lots of twists and turns, and you're constantly trying to figure out whether the main character is faking it or not and is making everything up. And that kind of kept you on the edge of your seat. Some of the effects and the sort of special makeup effects aren't great, and there is a little bit of dodgy acting in there, but it's all kind of forgiven because it just seemed like they have a genuine love for not only the genre, the sort of found footage genre, but also the story they're telling. So it comes off as being just really genuine and just a really good movie to watch. So find Death of a Vlogger. We found it on Amazon, and yeah, really liked it. So next up at number 7, we have Welcome to the Jungle. Now this is not the Guns N' Roses song, and it's not the film with The Rock in it either. This one, quite unfortunately, was given the same title as both of those things, so it's quite difficult to find. But Welcome to the Jungle is basically about 2 couples who are going into the middle of the jungle to find a guy called Michael Rockefeller, who is basically this kind of mythical figure who is incredibly rich and disappeared off into the jungle and hasn't been seen since. There's lots of rumours around whether he's actually fallen in with cannibals or what's actually happened to him. So yeah, you just kind of go along for the ride. I wouldn't say it's massively scary. It does have some sort of horror elements at the end. It's just really well crafted. It's a very good found footage movie, and also it was not scripted whatsoever. So it's all completely improvised, it's all ad-libbed, and you can't really tell. The actors do a really good job of making it feel like it's quite natural. So I really like that about it as well. It's got quite an abrupt end, like a lot of found footage movies have, but it's definitely one that you'll remember. And I quite like the fact that it didn't have a sort of supernatural premise to it either. It just it felt very real and quite tense. So if you can find Welcome to the Jungle, yeah, go check it out. So at number 6, we have Screamers. Now, this one is about an internet company who are basically trying to get as many hits as they can by sort of sharing lots of different kinds of videos. And they end up getting these videos sent to them that are called Screamers. And they're those sort of videos where you start watching and everything's really slow and tense, and all of a sudden something jumps out at you. A bit like if you remember the one with the car going around the mountains and then something pouncing up at you. So they get sent loads of these videos, and they're trying to find out where they're coming from, and they want to be the sort of exclusive website that only puts on these videos onto the internet, so they make loads of money out of them. And then they start to find out that these videos actually might be slightly more realistic than they think, and might have a sort of deeper, darker meaning to them. And this one, it can be a little bit slow in places, but I do think it's got some really good scares. It's quite an original sort of concept as well, and it's got a few nice little touches here and there. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. We watched this one on Amazon, so if you can find it, check out Screamers. In at number 5, we have The Witch Files, or Salem Witch Files, depending on where you're watching it. This one, again, has 2 titles. And this one I wouldn't say is sort of particularly horror. It's more like a sort of found footage version of The Craft. And if you like that movie, and that movie usually is classed as horror, then you'll probably enjoy this one. It has some sort of ropey special effects in it sometimes, as you can probably see in the trailer. But all in all, I thought it was a really fun film. It was really entertaining. And it's one of those sort of films where, especially if you've got sort of, teenagers that want like a sleepover movie to watch, something like that, then this is that kind of movie. It's great fun for that kind of thing. If you are a fan of The Craft, I'll say this one probably isn't as dark as that, and it certainly isn't as bad as The Craft Legacy, but it just seems like a really sort of genuine, fun found footage film, and has some cool characters in, and a nice little twist at the end as well. So yeah, go and find The Witch Files and sit back and enjoy. So at number 4, we have Mr. Jones. Now, the infamous Mr. Jones in the movie is a recluse and someone who is a kind of almost like an urban legend who sends out these scarecrow-like totems, like pieces of art, to random people. And those people tend to either have really bad things happen to them or quite a lot of bad luck. And the main characters are your sort of, typical attractive white couple that are in a movie, and they're going to go and make a documentary about this person and find out who they are. So when they discover the infamous Mr. Jones, they start to realize that everything around where he lives and everything around him is not as it seems, and they start to get messed with, and time starts to get messed with. And there's a couple of twists in this one as well. The strange thing about this one is that obviously most found footage films tend to have like a really abrupt ending. Someone either gets hit over the back of the head or the camera falls, something like that. This one had quite a drawn out ending. In some ways I quite liked that. It was quite refreshing. In others I thought that it did drag on a little bit too much. But it was refreshing to see anyway. So yeah, if you can go and find Mr. Jones, let me know what you think of it. I really enjoyed it. So in at number 3, we have Lake Mungo. So this one is an Australian mockumentary style. So it follows a family who have had one of their daughters die in a sort of quite a sad, tragic way, and they're trying to deal with her loss and find out a bit more about her life as well. So this one unfolds quite slowly again. It doesn't really particularly drag, but it's just not one that's sort of trying to throw scares at you all the time. It's just really tense and just has a bit of an unnerving premise to it. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was, again, quite refreshing, and thought it was really well crafted as well. It was very well made, and it is one of those films where you sort of start to think maybe this is actually real because it's based on true events. But yeah, check out Lake Mungo. I thought it was really good. In at number 2, we have The Borderlands, or The Final Prayer. Again, another one that has 2 titles, don't ask me why. And this one is another British found footage movie, and it's probably one of the scariest ones on this list. It's all about some priests who go to a church in a small town, and they're trying to discover what's been happening. There's been a sort of series of miracles going on that have been reported, so they're trying to figure out whether they're real or not. So it's got that kind of stigmata feel to it, if you've seen that movie. I thought this one was incredibly well crafted and quite scary and very unpredictable. It definitely plays on that feeling of being in the middle of nowhere in a sort of tiny village and trying to figure out whether these people really know what's going on or are really sort of with the times. But yeah, it's definitely one where once you watch it, you want other people to see it just because of how scary it is. So if you can't get a few friends round, sit and watch this one. It's really good. So before our final pick, I want to hear from you. So are there any found footage movies that didn't make this list that you think should be on here? Let me know your recommendations in the comments. Also, have you seen any of these movies? Let me know your thoughts. If you haven't seen any of them and you go away and watch them, obviously come back and let me know what you think. And also, if you like this video or any of my other videos, make sure you give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing. It really helps me out. It helps the channel out as well. Obviously, it means that you'll see the next video that I make. I cover all sorts of things on this channel, everything from sci-fi to horror movies, video games, comics, movies, all sorts of things like that. So yeah, stick around and subscribe. Do all the lovely YouTube things. So last but not least, in at number 1, we have The Woods. Oh no, wait, Blair Witch. So let me explain. So this is the sequel to the original Blair Witch Project movie. And as we all know, that was sort of a cultural phenomenon where everyone thought that this was real. It was given a real website. All the actors used their real names. They went into hiding when it came out so that no one knew where they were and thought they were really missing. It was a whole thing that sort of shook the world. And when everyone found out it was fake, it was genius. And it's still one of the most popular and famous found footage movies of all time. So this one is the sequel to that movie, and at Comic-Con a few years ago they were unveiling a movie called The Woods, and it had loads of hype around it. It had like a little teaser trailer, and everyone was saying it looks like it's going to be the scariest movie ever, which obviously a lot of trailers say that. And loads of people were sort of filing into this hall to go and see The Woods, to see this trailer that they were talking about. And there was loads of posters for it everywhere. And when everyone went into the hall, obviously they shut the doors, they started playing the trailer, and the trailer was for Blair Witch. When it was announced and you saw Blair Witch at the end, the whole room erupted because obviously everyone loves that original movie. And while they were doing that, all the people in the lobby were changing all the posters round so that they all said Blair Witch. So when they came out, it was this big surprise and it was this big reveal. And while they did that, they also changed the website and loads of other things about it on IMDb and everything. So it was another kind of publicity stunt, but it worked really well. And I have to say, I love this movie. I do love Book of Shadows as well, but for sort of different reasons, because obviously that isn't a found footage movie, but it does have some nice twists and sort of Easter eggs in it. But Blair Witch is a great sequel. And this one is all about Heather Donahue's brother, who is going into the Burkittsville Woods, the Blair Woods as we know them, and trying to find Heather or just see what happened to her, because some footage has come up that basically kind of seems like she's still alive. So him and his friends go into the woods with lots of new technology. They have drones, they have little ear cameras, all sorts of things to try and track down Heather or just to see what happened. So if you haven't seen this movie, you need to go and check it out. It's so good. The last 20 minutes are ridiculously intense, and it just adds another layer to that Blair Witch story, a little bit like the video game did. And I put the video game into to my top 20 horror video games list. So if you haven't seen that, I'll pop that down in the comments along with my last found footage list as well. But yeah, definitely check out Blair Witch. It's so good. So that's it. That's 10 more found footage horror movies that you might have missed. Thank you for sticking around. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.